Hello everyone, Drew Wilson of Your Era Gamer here, and today I have another update in Minecraft. And this is something I have been also looking forward to showcasing. It's one of the other large projects I have been working on all this time, and you can tell by the hang, it's there are some caveats to this project. No, it is not another city. But I did make some references to getting lots of leather and getting lots of paper. And for those of you who don't know, that is probably some of the ingredients for maps, and you would be correct. And I have been working on a giant room, and the reason why I've always never looked up was because I didn't want to give it away too much, but that is my little giant map room. And let me just say this, I don't recommend building a giant map room like this. But yeah, map room. And the reason for that is because every map that you put on an item frame creates an entity, and a few are fine. A dozen or so are okay. 24 are decent. But the size that I built, don't do this. Seriously, don't do this. And in fact, I will remove my shield so I can show it to you a little bit better. But this took forever to build. And I'm going to do a little pan here. Just a simple walking pan. And while I was building this, I realized technically the map was not large enough, so I had to build this little nodule. So what you're looking at least as originally designed, was a 33 by 17 map, which means about, I think it was 533 map pieces are needed, which requires a lot of resources, but I've also added 4, so 520, was it 544? Anyway, 548 if my math is correct. So there's a lot to go over here, and I thought I would start off with the main base. That is the main base, and that green little thing there is where I'm located. And that is where I started. And yeah, I'll go over different aspects of the thing I built. So my subway goes from around here and it goes all the way to here. This is my tree farm. That's my tree fort. That is, interestingly enough, those pale oak does show up quite nicely on these maps. And this long line here goes to the area out here, which had all the, the village, the tundra, and that sort of thing. And that was my very first sky train that kind of loops down here. That was the sort of mushroom biome. I found out later, I think it's a deep, dark biome thing, where it's just mushrooms and trees and stuff, and it's supposed to be darker. And that leads to the stairwell, which goes all up here, and that goes all up to my failed mountain mine. It's not really well shown, but that's where it's about, around here, because you can kind of see the line here. So yeah, that's what I built initially towards the beginning and towards the end. And then there was the subway that goes over here. That is my farm. So I could create like food or whatever. And you can even see my nether portal wood shed thing there. And that goes all the way up to the jungle biome. That's the nether portal right there. And this goes all the way down here, and it leads to, that's the castle, and that is the giant emerald city. And I know, yeah, it doesn't look that much bigger from your average city, or your average naturally built village, but naturally built villages require 2 buildings for 1 villager. And that is, you can kind of see the squares here, because that's actually the fencing that's on the top. That's 4 villagers per square, and then that's not even counting the several villagers that are inside my apartment complex, which is the rectangle here, and of course there's more going into my castle as well, and that is the pool room right there. And you can see that's my outside farm, and those little lines and that weird curve, that's those are all minecart systems. This area here was my initial source for iron, and if you're ever short on iron, anywhere where it's like stony peaks and gray areas and stuff like that, excellent place. Just gotta spend some time, and I definitely recommend enchanting your pickaxes to include fortune whenever you go mining these things. But yeah, that's what largely built this, along with the mountain that used to be here. You can kind of see a little bit on the side here, honestly. I think, yeah, that little slightly darker gray area is where still a remnant of that, along with this area here. But anyway, enough about that. Then I added this. That was village number 2. And I went kind of around that because I did a little bit of an unauthorized rezoning. And this kept going. And that is my villager extractor 3000, which joins up and piggybacks on that system there. And I kidnapped all but 2 villagers. It turns out there was a second villager. It was one with a job, and I don't know if I've seen him since, but I only seen him once. I think it became zombie food. I don't know. But anyway, then there was that famous bend. It goes south here, goes around this area here, and that little 4 square thing with a larger square around it, that is the nether portal. That is my beach area here. And all that little bits of green on the side and inside there, that's all sugarcane. And then this goes south, and I thought I would have enough room, but I don't. But that's where the desert begins. And those little trees there are my tree farm. That is my base towards going down inside the mine below. And that is the nether portal. And I didn't see it from the ground, but when I put it in there, it looks like a weird, goofy, cartoony happy face or something like that. I don't know what to make of that, but yeah, that's quite the feature there. And then there's the famous split, and this goes over here. This is another village. That's still populated. And the reason why there's a line there is because I was trying to make sure I was going in the right direction when I was digging below. So I needed a little line to go along the top to kind of guide me. And then it goes along here, goes up this way, goes underneath all this stuff. That's all the floating islands. And this goes to my ocean biome thingy. Lots of ocean here. And that is the nether portal for the ocean right there. That's the glass thing there. And then it goes all the way to the end here. That is my second jungle biome. That's my snake nether portal. And weirdly enough, the stairs actually made a tongue. I did not intend that for the map, but it just happened to work out pretty well. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, it took a lot of exploring. There's a lot of things I did find because I was exploring, like all these, that's a ruin portal, which does contain some treasure. There's a number of shipwrecks. That's one of them. That's another one. And I thought there was one kind of south here. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, there's one shipwreck right there. There was a bunch of shipwrecks. I didn't find anything else. It was all just kelp and stuff, so I didn't really find anything else of note. Just a few different kinds of fish and stuff. So there wasn't a huge amount in this ocean, which was kind of disappointing. I was kind of expecting more. But another thing I found while exploring, and I thought this was kind of cool. Well, besides the village here, which I didn't know about before, and the village over here, which I didn't know about before, was this weird boot mark. This is a very, very deep gorge, and I thought it was fascinating that it was almost perfectly like in the shape of a footmark, almost like a cartoony footmark. And the only exception was that tree here, which if I chop down, then it'll be perfect in shape. This was naturally built. I didn't touch any of that, so I thought I just basically called it giant footmark or giant foot or whatever. So that was kind of cool. And another thing I kind of discovered was just how big this mountain range was. I exhausted most of the iron that I could quickly find in that, so I started looking here, and there is just tons of iron in this mountain range. There was some iron here and some iron here, but yeah, once I found out how much iron was on this one, I was set, basically. So there was a few things I also found. See if I can find it. Ah, right here. There's something called a pillager outpost, and that's one of them. And I found some things. It wasn't too exciting. There was another one, I think along the northern area here. Yeah, pillager outpost, along with another ruined portal right next to it. So there was that. It was an interesting find. This whole area here, apparently there are ice peaks, and I didn't know about this until I started exploring for map reasons, and that's apparently a thing, so I got to explore that. Another ruined portal. Village down there. There was not a huge amount. It was just a lot of open area and a few mountain ranges. Really, the most interesting things were stuff that I've already found, and that ice peaks thing for the most part, and a ruined portal again. But another thing to note about these maps is that you can zoom out and create level 1, level 2. So what you see here, this is all level 0 maps, so there's no enhancement whatsoever. It's just I create a map and I go out there and I run around until it's filled out, and then I place it in the map room. But I want to demonstrate quickly the different levels. And this is I basically picked this this area here because it's right at my main base. I didn't want to do a whole bunch of walking. So that is a level 0 map, which is the same level. This is level 1. So you can see that it doubled in size, and it doubles every single time you increase the level. So that is level 2, and you can see here, like, that is the main base. It barely registers, and then you can see my whole tree farm right there, and it sort of goes out a little bit. This took a bit to kind of fill out, but I did it, and that's the entire mushroom area, deep dark biome thing. That's level 3, and the indicator completely covers my whole base, and it goes all the way up to the cherry trees, so it almost does the length. So it basically goes all up to around here, from the main base to here, and that is showcased in this one map, and it goes all the way down to about here. So really probably about a fifth of the size of the map, and that's level 4. And yes, it's not complete, and it takes forever to create because I basically spent an entire Minecraft day trying to time it nicely and everything, just doing this one little loop. I did fill out a little bit around the base and a little bit down around here, but man, this took forever, and I thought, you know what, it makes the point of how big this is. This goes all the way up well past this, and somewhere around here, I think. And going south, it goes all the way down here, and it goes past this to around here. And then I kind of did I diverted myself and went back up north, and it kind of meandered over towards these mountains. I had to go around these mountains and go all over here, and so I can kind of do at least a little loop to kind of showcase how big this is. I don't know how big these maps go. And the reason why is because I actually went to the cartographer table and added a paper to this just to see what it would output, and it said it outputted a level 5, but I didn't do it because I thought, you know what, these are big enough. But really, a level 4 map, I think I only need maybe 3 at most. 2 might cover almost all of this. So that's how big these maps go. So I thought it would be a cool demonstration of just how big these maps are. Anyway, I'm going to do a quick little wide shot. This corner was always a really cool shot. And that is my map room. I hope you enjoyed that. That was my other major project I was working on. So I guess I'll leave it to that. And that is all for now. And until next time, what is your era?